Hello and welcome to the Morning Skate Podcast. I am your host, DJ Mitchell, here with Matt Moody to go over Tuesday's 10 game slate. It's the Barn Bash. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Matt, how are you doing on this lovely Monday evening as we record?
Been better, but whatever. Decent slate of games on Monday evening. Doesn't look like it's going to go all that well for your boy here, though. So it is what it is. Didn't have what you needed. The only things I bet in were the San Jose game, and San Jose just stopped playing in the second period. So whatever. I try and pick off those 1.5 shot lines, and I'm going to get burned by it today. So it is what it is. But we'll move on to Tuesday pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we don't need to spend long. I guess what we were just talking about before we got started was my tweet that did some level of numbers today. So I will share it so you can see it for the first time live on air. It is the SpongeBob SquarePants holding up the trophy, and Fitzpatrick thinks he's a loser, and he says, for doing absolutely nothing longer than anybody else. And it's Kevin Adams, and then Kevin wins it because the tweet from Darren Dreger today saying that, like, yep, tons of offers out there for the Sabres, and they just don't really like them, and they're just not going to do it, and they're just going to wait, and there'll be a quiet offseason or a quiet trade deadline for the Sabres, which, to be like entirely honest, I don't care that much. Like, what are you really going to do, right? Like, what are you accomplishing by doing the trade now instead of later? And it's like, yeah, you're going to move Yoki-Haru, obviously, like whatever, but I don't know. I don't really care as much as it's just always this in perpetuity since Kevin Adams has taken over. It's like they're just building up energy for the next attack. They're just getting that cap room ready for that next big play, and it never comes. It never comes, and they're still bad, and they have pieces that make you think they might be okay, and they just aren't. And I'm done thinking it's going to get better. I don't know, Matt, if you have any thoughts on the trade deadline with the Sabres or any of the moves we saw lately, or just want to cover the slate and we can worry about that later.
I will see you next year when they offer Lindy Ruff at 75-1 to win the Art Ross. Or not the Art, Jack Adams.
The Art Ross.
That would be something.
That's going to be 75-1 odds are interesting, but I don't know if he's going to get there. Yeah. No, it is what it is. I again, like, it's one of those things where it's like, no matter what you say to me about the Sabres, like, I genuinely believe they're a much better team than their record shows. And I thought that going into this year that, like, all of the things that needed to go right, some of them went right, but they just don't win. And there's really not much more to say. Like, maybe it takes time. Maybe it just takes a little bit. Like, I don't think they're missing as much as maybe people think, but just always doing nothing is frustrating because I just don't think it helps to bring the culture in that's going to actually win. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we can, philosophical hockey debates aside, we can get to the daily fantasy slate. Not really a whole lot else to cover. Some good bets, some bad bets. Tonight's going well for me, but Sunday was bad. Saturday was disappointing. I don't know if you had any big hits over the weekend.
No, I decided to donate a lot of the winnings from Saturday early in showdown slates back via stupid bets that whatever, just stupid. So yeah, thus we go into Tuesday. We do have a pretty decent offering in the lobby. The 555 20K to first. The $20 is, I just had it up. Thank you, DraftKings. 10K, whatever. I guess not that exciting, but it's the doldrums of March. It's the NHL. What are you gonna do? We can barely get ESPN to cut away from a regular season college basketball game to showcase our sport. So who's to say DraftKings is wrong for posting a relatively small $20 here? Probably won't fill.
Yeah, There's some things I will not ever fight, and March Madness is one of them. I know we're not there yet, but like, I like everything, and I don't care about basketball at all. Like, I'll throw on some March Madness in the background and like hang out with the guys and watch a game or two. But like, there is something magical about the beginning of the tournament, and that is inarguable. But we're not there yet, and it feels like they're already like mentally. It's like, all right, March, like college basketball's it. And it's like, kind of just dog shit right now. Give it like 2 more weeks, and then I will not argue. I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to. I will maybe tweet about the college Frozen Four being better because that's my shtick, but that's also true. But I actually don't think that March Madness is bad. I think they found something amazing in a sport that's largely unwatchable at the professional level. But
I will let you know whether March Madness is good or bad in roughly 3 weeks after I know how St. John's, the number 6 team in the country, does.
I almost bet them to make the Final Four with a free bet, and I didn't. Should have just done that. I was going to text you actually what I should do. So there's your advice. My St. Bonaventure Bonnies for the year like 11-1 have they've gone the way of Steven Stamkos into the abyss. So we can move forward. And yeah, I mean, this is actually a really good point from Ben. Like FanDuel is offering. I honestly, I haven't even looked in this year. I don't think there's ever been a reason to look at the FanDuel slate. Like there's just nothing.
I have not looked once.
There is no competition. And the thing that's going to be the most frustrating is when you open up the DraftKings slate 10K to first at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, or 2.5 hours, 3 hours before lock, and it's just full. And it's just like, but they just there's no reason. And then,
And then the next day for a 4-game slate up against the NBA, whatever, $9 million to first, they're going to try a $15K to first, $20, and it's not going to even come close to filling. And then Thursday it'll be $3K and a box of chocolates for first, and they'll just never really understand how to do it. But whatever. We have 10 games to get through. I suggest we do that. I believe I tuned out when you talked about St. Bonaventure starting the year 3-1. So congratulations on that. I think those are the numbers you said.
They were 11.
Oh, okay, 11.
They were 11-1.
Okay.
They were very good, and I just sometimes I feel like some magic around the college basketball team could kind of get things going. The Wojnarowski effect, all these things, and then like they realized they actually sucked.
Did
I'm
you
going to
hear
talk about that? No go.
Did you hear the Pat Mayo and Davis pod the other day? They talked about Woj.
No, I don't think so.
Davis is convinced that Woj did not leave because he wanted to go to St. Bonaventure, and I didn't have the heart to tell Davis, no, once you go to St. Bonaventure, you're just part of a cult. Like you will never escape it. Thus why you're having 27 people.
I have to listen to this now.
Yeah, no.
This is going to make rounds between my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this for sure and send it to my friends because I tell people that like if anyone asks me like why'd you go to Bonaventure, I tell them like I had no interest. I had my cousin's best friend went to Bonaventure and he was like, I will give you a fake ID that looks just like you if you go for an overnight. And I was, a senior in high school, and I was like, that's a miracle. I will go for this overnight. And I took one sip of the water there. And then it was 5 years later because I got my MBA, and all of a sudden I was like, what the heck just happened? Did I just go there for 5 years? And it's a cult, and we all get together, and we when we're together, it's insufferable. Now, read the Ben Lundley thing, and then let's get to the
incredible.
Let's get to the main.
Ben logged into FanDuel for some research for us. Their main contest is a $4.44 entry, 80 max. $2,000 to first, 10K total prize pool, 2,681 entries. That is basically underdog, which is underdog. It's not FanDuel. Just classic stuff from our friends over at FanDuel. Anyway, we are starting things off here with San Jose at Buffalo. Like I mentioned off the top, San Jose looks dead. They're down 2-0 after 2. I think they have like 9-10 shots on goal. I will share my screen and we can get into things. But DJ, 2 teams on a back-to-back. What is your interest level in this professional hockey game? Some are calling it a professional hockey game.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously tentative interest in the Sabres. I feel like I'm not that interested in San Jose. Celebrini did play. Seemed like there was some level of concern that he might not be able to go against Toronto, and he's good to play, and it seems like it doesn't matter much. Like he's the entire, engine of this team. And I think it kind of gets lost on people that because everyone at this point right now, just like Makko Celebrini is God's gift to hockey. Like he's the best player in the world. Like, what are we doing to fix the Sharks and forgets that, I mean, this is not a point a game player, which he's been fantastic as of late. Like he's definitely figuring it out and he's getting to that point, which is amazing at his age. But like at 6,900, we've reached the point of like, okay, like he is priced effectively. And I said, like, we might look back one day and say that's an amazing value, but I kind of think we've maybe gone to, we've gotten to the right point now. I don't know. 7K is probably correct. And if you're playing him, you're stacking him. And I just don't think you're doing that on a double back-to-back. Again, like I said, it really isn't that bad. Yeah, I'm probably good here. You're going to try to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, the sludge match is certainly a factor. Another factor, I guess a light one, is that this is, slightly less than a 24-hour back-to-back. They started at like 7:45 was puck drop in Toronto. So, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. Just slightly less time to rest, recover, so on and so on. Again, expecting Eklund, Celebrini, Toffoli, like you said. That combined 17K line. Toffoli's been pretty good. Obviously, Celebrini's been good. The expecteds for Celebrini are actually some of the best on the slate, with decent production to go with it, but not anything outstanding necessarily, which is to be expected for a San Jose team.
10 game slate. What, if you just order them by price, what is Celebrini in the order? I'm also going to assume that one player is out that's above him in Jack Hughes, but let's just say he's out.
At the center position?
Yeah.
He is 10th.
Sixth
Okay.
most expensive, obviously excluding Jack Hughes, who it would seemingly he's out, but we'll get to that when we get to that game. And it's just like, I get that 6,900 doesn't seem crazy, but right now in this current pricing, like it feels kind of crazy. Like there's just so many options around him that I just don't think you can do it here.
You look at expected fantasy points, not including Monday. He's 9th on the entire slate, not just centers. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's 5th by expected fantasy points among centers. Obviously not as good actuals, but there is merit there.
Yeah.
It's not like he's been
I know. Yeah, like I'm thinking he's priced correctly is what I'm saying. And I think that almost kind of maybe is saying, like he's priced correctly. Is this a good spot to push that price? And it's like, nah, because it's not enough. On the Buffalo side, I kind of equally don't know if there's an easy way of doing things here. I think that everything in my my brain says like Tage Thompson is just kind of how you do it, and he's almost 8K, and I just don't really think he's worth it on this slate, even against the San Jose team on a back-to-back. Like just the stack is getting expensive.
Thank you for transitioning us. But before we move past San Jose, I just want to showcase Jake Wallman. He's been very good. 5,400 defenseman. Like that is actually a really, I think, valuable piece. He's a stat stuffer. He's doing it all between blocks, shots, top power play. If that hits, it's getting points. So I just wanted to shout out Jake Wallman as a pretty strong play here, regardless of what you do. Anything else on Buffalo that you had?
No, I mean, I guess my point is like there's nothing here that feels easy to stack. And if they stick to the lines that you have here, the Greenway Cousins Tuck is maybe where I'd end up like trying to land because again, like, are you really playing Tage at 70? I just don't think I'm playing this game. I think I've convinced myself not to play this game. And I think Buffalo will get some ownership because of the implied team total, which isn't up yet. Oh no, it is now. They're minus 270 home favorites with a 6.5. So like, I think ownership will come in, and I just would rather go elsewhere, I think, on this slate.
Cheapers.
So
that is substantial.
Any thoughts on like the Quinn McLeod Benson line, or is there anyone here you're thinking like, maybe I could one off, or is it just the ownership?
Get to a lot of guys. Third line's not interesting to me. 13K for Benson, McLeod, Quinn just doesn't really make it move. I mean, the top line is still affordable. It's 19K for the Tage line. Like, it's not, it's not insane. Kulik has certainly been awesome. So no real issue with him being second power play or anything. Like, that line just together has been quite good. I think Greenway, Cousins, and Tuck, though, will garner a second look for me. 15K. Greenway's been very good since coming off of injury. He just continues to produce decent nights. And yeah, 3,700, you're hoping for more than, 8, 9. But I think he does have like a 15 in there if everything hits perfectly. Maybe not what you're looking for again, but I think there's some merit to it, especially with the pricing being just generally tougher. Cousins, and then especially Alex Tuck, so long as Jason Zucker remains out, Tuck gets that top power play billing. He's been on fire. I want to say this is one of the highest actual point outputs of the entire slate, not just of the Sabres, but averaging 15 fantasy points a game over the last 10 for just 6,200. Like that is an awesome value. I think that Cousins and Greenway will get some ownership, but probably not enough to really warrant, you can't play him at X amount of ownership. Like I'm not that worried about it. So let's move forward into Nashville and Boston. I will lead off because I just wanted to highlight that Nashville, both teams actually look pretty decent because Nashville's been playing very up-tempo lately. But they've made a lot of, changes to their lineup, some forced by like Roman Yossi's injury, the trade of Gus Nyquist, and some just like, I don't even know what they're doing. They went to 11-7 yesterday. So like Colton Sissons played a boatload of minutes. They lost. They got slaughtered by the Rangers, who are slaughtering the Islanders back-to-back shutouts. Are we really worrying about Nashville here? Probably not. But there could be some nonsense going on with their lines. So, like, I'm particularly interested if, like, Luke Evangelista is playing alongside Forsberg or something. Like, there could be some value there. Kiefer Bellows, minimum salary, picks up some secondary power play time at the absolute minimum. So, I'm okay with that as well. We see he's obviously much past prospects at this point, drafted in 2016. But when he plays in the AHL, he's too good for that league. And if they go 11-7 and he's the minimum salary playing on a power play, you got to at least consider it to fit in some studs here. So, any takes on Nashville?
Yeah, I feel like there's this like feeling that there's going to be this really good punt from Nashville. I think that you're kind of alluding to like it could be a number of different guys. Just one that I just no matter when it happens, and like I think at this point everything's out the window. Like we don't even know anymore, and maybe that they've been so bad that they don't even want to call up, Kamel to get some more time in the NHL. But I just keep hoping it's a guy like him, a guy that even in limited role will just shoot the absolute shit out of the puck. There really just doesn't feel like there's anyone else that does that. Like Bellows is the closest that pedigree wise just does not have it at the NHL level. We saw it from Kamel. I do not understand a team that is incapable of scoring will not call up a guy that can score and try to play him. So maybe other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Colton Sissons. I don't care how many minutes he gets. There's a reason they didn't score a goal in that game against the Rangers. They don't have guys that can play with Forsberg, and they didn't pick them up in free agency. Marchessault is like, okay, and then there's nothing else. So I hope they can call up someone actually good, or I might just not even do it. I did kind of, watch a bit of that game, and I just kind of kept noticing this Del Gazo. He just kept shooting the puck. Kind of felt like a donkey trucker. And then you look at the numbers, like are up on screen right now, and you're like, this guy like fantasy relevant? Know him because I did not know him before the year started.
I mean, this is whatever. It's 3 games, or I think it's 3 games, and he's been good for those games. He's been shooting, so I don't know. There's no sort of prospect pedigree or anything to him, so I'm not interested in chasing it. But the price hasn't really moved. I guess if they go back to like a 12-6 alignment, then maybe he's just projectable for a punt value. But I would honestly rather just take a defenseman who's getting power play time, because that's not impossible to find here. So people are gonna play him, I think, because he's been very good.
I agree. Let's move over to Boston.
Boston,
probably the more interesting side of this game. Yeah.
We're not sure the extent of Brad Marchand's injury. So he didn't play on Sunday. Georgi Merkulov moved up to the second line in his stead. He's 2,700. This is a guy who I think can play. I pulled up his stats the other day in other leagues, but basically he's been pretty solid as a point producer wherever he's been. Most recently, he was in the AHL. Last year was very, very strong from a point perspective, pretty decent from a shot perspective. Not anything crazy shooting wise, like 2,700. He's not a must play by any stretch, especially because they got shut out 1-0 last game. Like, would have been cool if anyone had tried to do anything offensively. But of course, Pastrnak is going to be the star of the show. Geeky Zaka playing alongside him. That line is going to cost you 20.7K taking on Nashville. I don't see anything in the bottom six worth even talking about. So, DJ, what is your level of interest in Mason Lohrei, David Pastrnak, and friends?
I mean, Pastrnak made the cover. I could get behind it. 10-game slate. There's a lot of options. I don't even know how chalky Pastrnak will be, and he's just been like the best player for fantasy as of late, or right up there with the top 2 or 3. So I am interested. Geeky's an option. The thing is, it's expensive. We talked about it on Thursday, and we're like, this is really, really cheap. Didn't really get a ton of ownership. Now it's a bit more expensive. The matchup is arguably better, I have to say, but I could see myself going back to it. Like, it's not so incredibly expensive that it's unplayable. And that to me says I'm probably going to, it's definitely in the queue over a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. I have really no complaints. Again, would have been nice had they scored last game to really feel good about this all sticking. But I guess for the time being, especially if no Pastrnak, like that is just going to be a boon to the entire line because they will be fully correlated. Like, Zaka and Geeky don't have to share one power play spot. They're just both on it. So I think full sacks are very much in order against Boston. Pasta played 25, Zaka 23, and Geeky 21 minutes. Just led the charge. So if I'm playing Boston, I think I'm just going the full 4-man with Mason Lohrei included. But I of course understand the allure of a one-off David Pastrnak too, if that fits. So let's keep going. Carolina and Detroit. Carolina eked out a victory against Calgary. They switched Jarvis and Svechnikov halfway through the game. I think that's what they're going to go with. I have no idea, though, so just, of course, check in on that. It does make this top line sort of their 3 best players at the moment. Like, Svechnikov has just not been, I guess, I don't even know if you can say not been Svechnikov, but, like, he's just not been very dynamic. So, yeah, the full line stack is going to cost 21.2K, but I do think Granton and Aho Jarvis are the 3 best players. We're getting Shane Goss to spare on the power play for a little bit of salary relief too. So what are your thoughts on Carolina as they head into Detroit?
Yeah, I definitely understand. Anytime you get a fully correlated sack, it feels good. The game feels good. I don't know if I want to say it feels great. It's actually just closed it out, but I'm almost positive it's a 6.5 total. And I get why you go to Carolina here. Don't really think I'm that interested in Detroit, but we'll definitely get to why you could consider it. I just wonder at this price if I'm actually going to be able to find a way to make a cohesive lineup. The good news is you don't really need to include a defenseman, but I'll just throw it to you. If you are playing the full line, are you looking at 3,900 Shane Goss spare and just saying, why not? Or are you maybe not gonna go that far?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Said it's just fine. So otherwise, I don't think there's much to discuss here. Jackson Blake's been quite good, but maybe you could just full line stack it. Kokiniemi, full second power play, 10.4K for a line. I don't know. I guess I can't say no to it, but certainly not something that I'm prioritizing here. On the Detroit front, I did just want to call out something that we don't often see that always intrigues me is when the expected goals index and the Corsi index don't line up. Basically, it just means that there's going to be chances created, but there's not going to be much volume. Carolina is obviously the perfect team for that. It is kind of noteworthy, though, that they're giving up a decent amount of offense against, just not shot attempts. So when they do get looks, they'll be dangerous. makes me think of one-offs and that, because you don't really need to sustain a full line with bonuses or whatever. You can just sort of get there. If one guy gets 2 points, you're good to go. So in this case, in Detroit, if we're using that as a rule of thumb, I could certainly get by with a one-off Alex DeBrincat. 6,400, dude's been a rock star as of late. He's been the focal point of the power play. He's been crushing at 5-on-5. He, Kane, and Comfer will skate out as a line. 16.3K. Again, I don't think you need to stack the full thing, but the price is, I think, right on a Detroit one-off. Either that or you go Larkin. The still quite good, not quite as good results as of late. 15 expected over the last 10, just 10.5 actuals. But 7K for Larkin, 6,500 for Lucas Raymond. Any interest in any Detroit pieces?
Yeah, no, I mean you said the exact reason why already, and I think it is to Brinkett. Weird to say that. I feel like we've been the most anti-DeBrincat. I guess comparatively again to what the perception of DeBrincat has been over the years, and all of a sudden he's really shown up and looked really good. So I guess one off. I don't have any problem with playing either, and just saying that he's the driver that gets 2-3 points, and the game ends up being kind of a madhouse. I like it more as a game stack if you can afford it, which again, it's difficult to afford, but it could be doable. You have to find some punts, but there are some along the way, we've already said, and there could be more. I mean, like we said, the one guy on Boston that I don't know how to say his name. What was it again?
Merkulov?
Merkulov?
Yeah.
Yeah, you throw him in, and you start playing some of this, and there's a couple more we'll get to. So yeah, I definitely could see it like that, but I don't know, not like a gold star type of play either side, just like probably good stuff that is going to get a lot of ownership. As we move to a Columbus Blue Jackets team coming off of the big outdoor win, they take Tampa on a back-to-back in Tampa.
Yes, Florida just finished off Tampa 2-1. So a bruised, beaten, battered Tampa team heads home to face everyone's favorite team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Unfortunately, the Rainbows do kind of like Columbus here. I guess, yeah, they've just been a very up-tempo team. I will put some caution out there that the Corsi pace in this game looks pretty terrible. That's, I guess, not something I would have immediately thought off the top of my head. So maybe worth looking into a little bit more. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a fun matchup regardless. I'm sure it'll be a 6.5 total. Big news, though, out of Columbus. We are expecting Yegor Chinakhov to return. His line with Boone Jenner and Kent Johnson is going to cost 14K. Chinakhov stays on the second power play for now, but obviously this is a guy who was their offense for long stretches of time, both this year and last year. Awesome player. That line priced very reasonably at just 14,000. However, the top line is also completely reasonable now at 17K. I mean, I don't know, DJ, are we going to have to be the Columbus slappies here? Because, you take this top six, you mix it with a 7K Zach Werenski, and it's not too tough to play Columbus.
Yeah, no, Stochastics called they want their bit back, but here we are. Just like I mean, yeah, I think they're in consideration. Absolutely, it's not that crazy to think that they could be a bit of a different way of getting away from the public, and like that second line is pretty legitimately good, especially at their price. The first line is not, it's more at 16.8, but it's 16.8, right, for a fully correlated top line. Top power play look. So yeah, I'm pretty in on it. I'm not that afraid of Tampa defensively. These guys aren't on the ice, then they're pretty porous. So I'm in. I think that Columbus is a totally fine play at their current price because it's come down considerably. Fantilli's been awesome. Jenner's been great since he returned. I think that's one thing that really hasn't even been mentioned yet. Like, it's not like Chinagov's getting out there and playing with nobody. Jenner's been back and has points in every single game, including 5 in his last 2. Like, he's good at hockey. We said that, before the year started. It sucks that he got hurt. He's a good hockey player. And if it's going to get owned because they're playing against Tampa on a back-to-back. So, yeah.
It is just 4 games, but in those 4 games at 5-on-5, Boone Jenner is 8 goals per 60 on the ice on the back of 4.8 expected goals per 60. So it's not just a hot stretch, or well, it could be a hot stretch, but it's not just him individually like taking a bunch of offense onto his shoulders. It's like his line driving play, and we love Kent Johnson, so like maybe this is actually the second line Columbus needed to get a lift into the playoffs on the backs of the heroics the top line has sort of given them all year long. So I don't know. It's really interesting. Also worth considering how they're deploying Varensky. Is he just going to stick with the top line, or is this going to be a bit more evenly shared now that Boone Jenner's back in the fold? I think there's a lot of reasons to dig a little deeper on Columbus and not just immediately rule it out. So we'll see. All right. On the Tampa front, they're just, they're back to trolling us. John Cooper says, we got any of those good players that put on the power play? And they were like, well, we've got Mitchell Chafee. And he's like, sold. I'm in. So off comes Brandon Hagel.
He had the greatest of 8 chances, just didn't score. And I'm just like, if only a good player was there on the power play, that they may have tapped that one home. But whatever you got to do, I suppose.
Yeah,
Alas,
I do wish the Tampa Bay Lightning luck in acquiring a right-handed shooter. I wonder if there's any teams that recently signed one of those that would happily trade $8 million for the right to no longer, or to relinquish the rights to a player whose number also ends in 1, like Mitchell Chafee. I can't think of anyone though. So I don't know. I'm just kind of scarred by this top line. 22K. Like, I think I'd rather play Boston, in all honesty. I don't trust Point or Gensel as far as I can throw them, which is not very far. And now that Brandon Hagel's no longer on the power play. Now that he's not on the top unit, like, it's just, do you really want to do like some, convoluted, well, Kucherov plays the full 2 minutes anyways, so like get Hagel and Hedman and Kucherov. And it's just like, I don't think so, man. Not for this back-to-back squad. I guess you could consider Darren Radish. When he was power play 1 before, he was up at 4K. Now he's 2,800. But God, I don't know. I've been on this road one too many times with Mr. Darren Radish. So, any thoughts on Tampa? Or can we just start crying and move on?
I know it feels a lot different, but honestly, if you're like, I'm going to one-off Pasternak and not play cheaper guys around him, just like one-off Kucherov. I know points of value, and or just play him in point. Just move on. If that's what you're going to do, I don't think I'm going to do it, but I just don't think you need to get crazier. Their coach is, what a great coach they have. He, won the cup for Canada, and it's like, crazy. The best players in the world win games. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, to me, I agree. It's just like so much nonsense that like it's Kucherov or nothing. I'm just not going to do it, more than likely. But we can move over to another game that's weird. I'll put it as weird on the DFS slate if you're ready.
We've got revenge,
the
DJ.
Calgary Flames. We have a lot of revenge here. The Flames at the Flyers. We have never-ending amounts of revenge. Farabee. We have Frost.
Yep.
Did Ryan Lomberg ever play for Philly? It just feels like he did, but I don't think he did.
No, he was no.
Tampa. I know Florida, but where was he before Florida?
Gosh,
I don't know.
Ryan
it doesn't
Lomberg
really matter.
Play in the NHL before Florida?
That's a great question. Great question that deserves an answer. But alas,
if only we had power to the collective knowledge of human history.
I wish we did.
He played in Calgary for 11 games, and then went to Florida in 2020.
Oh, okay. Well, that's on my mind. Well, this game, I thought let's just zoom out for a second at the whole game.
Oh, but wait,
most
DJ,
expensive player.
DJ. In 2015, he played for the Adirondack Thunder and the Youngstown Phantoms in the USHL. None of those teams are affiliated with the Philadelphia Flyers, but they've in their history had the Phantoms and the Adirondack team in the AHL. So maybe some, additional revenge on his part. I don't know. I just made that up.
You
We can
playing
keep
Ryan
going.
Lomberg tomorrow?
I might have to now
So-
because his line mate Adam Klapka
So-
was on the power play last game. I can't believe they didn't score on a power play against Carolina of all teams. Like, okay, yeah, whatever.
So I'm just gonna say, and you started talking more about Lomberg after me saying stupid. You should just ignore the stupid things I say and only listen to the smart ones. And this is going to be the first thing. The entire game, most expensive player is Nazem Kadri at 6,200, meaning that like every player is cheap. I'll also mention Kuzmenko is 5,500 and like the fourth most expensive player in this game, and like you don't need to play him. So anything you want to do here is affordable. Coronado's come way back down in price. Huberto sucks, but has been at least an option. Like every single forward is cheap. I would do, but I feel like there's something here. It's a 5.5. I get that. The Flyers are favorites. It's not a crazy high total or anything, but
What if I
I'm
told
at least
you
interested in taking a look.
every forward on Calgary is bad, and that's why they are cheap? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I know, but like, is every forward on the Flyers bad? Because Michkov's
Well, we
4,600. I know
I
we're not there
haven't
yet.
clicked the
Like,
button yet, DJ. I haven't clicked the button.
Yeah. I want to say there's something on this Flames team that you should look at. I just don't know what it is. I really don't. Like, I don't know
Yeah, it
what you're
turns out,
clicking and feeling good about, other than like,
Coronado's gone off a cliff since he left the Backlund Coleman line. They just don't generate offense with Huberto on the ice, which it's not that surprising. And it's also tough to get your share of the pie when Nazem Kadri is eating his pie. And I'm not even going to keep going because I can see the innuendo forming. So I just think that that's not a good fit. But they seem to be insisting on putting Coronado with Kadri, so be it. The $15K for a fully correlated top line. I'm not interested, but have at it. On the Flyers side, yes, we decided that Michkov at 5,800 was actually not going to happen. And so during his best run of games in the NHL, he's now down to 4,600 against the Calgary Flames at home. I mean, this is just screaming my name. I'm sorry. I can't with good conscience say that I will not be playing Mr. Matvei Michkov because yes, of course, I will be alpha jamming, giga jamming in Mr. Michkov.
Yeah. It's one of those spots that just feels like I don't even know what the ownership would have to be for me to look away. And there's a lot of idiots out there that just like will ignore this game and just be destitute to certain chalk. Like the question I have to ask you is like, how well is it going to project to play Michkov? It's probably really the question here we have to ask. And is it are the stochastics and the Saber Sims and are they constantly trying to jam Michkov with no correlation on the power play and like I'm just hoping. I'm optimistic that he just doesn't get donkey smash jammed into lineups, because if he doesn't, boy, do I think there's an opportunity.
All right. Let's
and
see.
and I have the Dustin Wolf slappies. He'll probably start, and the slappies will be slapping, and they'll be saying that they have to play. Can't play against Dustin Wolf, and that's good.
I just looked at an early run of projections at a site that is not going to be named, and it does not look good for our Mr. Michkov coming in low owned. Gotta say. So hopefully that projection updates. But
he's gonna. Yeah. I would be very surprised if he wasn't the highest owned player on the slate. That being said,
okay.
Are you playing ticket with him? Remember what happened last time?
Yeah, probably. I mean, well, now he's actually getting a power play shift. It's not the power play shift, but it's a decent one. And I think I'll also be playing Risto alongside Michkov. Like, I don't really see why not at this point.
Ooh, are we?
Like, Risto's been quite good up there. He's blocking a bunch of shots, and I mean, I have long held the belief that Risto is a perfectly serviceable power play defenseman. Like that was not his problem with the Sabres, and obviously he's not gotten much opportunity in Philly, but like I think he is pretty talented at moving the puck and like making offensive decisions that like aren't the dumbest. He just makes neutral zone and defensive zone decisions that are horrific. So yeah, I'm totally fine going with the Risto angle to pair with Michkov. And yeah, I'm not going to let ownership deter me, but I did just find it interesting that it does seem like this price will not be keeping people away like it was last week when I did not play him because I'm just a sheep and oh, he's 5,800 or whatever he was. I can't play that because he might play 12 minutes and then he gets 49 DraftKings points in 13 and a half minutes. And I'm like, see, I was right. And, and I lost because I deserved it. Anyway, any interest in Kuzmenko, Lawton, and Konechny? I mean, we know that Kuzmenko, the revenge narrative, Lawton, I guess keep an eye out for trade purposes, but so far no smoke there saying that he's going to be scratched or anything. But that line is fully correlated. You mix in Michkov, you mix in Risto, you get a 5-man stack against the Calgary Flames for well less than the cost of an average roster slot. So anything do it there for you?
I mean, that is an option. I think that I will have to say it's an option to Giga Jam Michkov with everybody. I don't know if I'm going as far as saying Lawton, like maybe. You could 4,100, whatever. Like, yeah, no, the Flyers are in a good spot. It's a fair enough matchup, but the price makes it really interesting, and people are just going to one-off Michkov till the cows come home. So I'll probably be stacking him. I have no issue stacking him with Tippett or stacking him with Connect Kuzmenko and Risto, or however you want to do it. Because if Michkov gets 3 or 4 points or whatever he needs to just put the slate into the grave 8 feet under, other guys are coming along for the ride that are according to that outcome, right? Like it's just pretty obvious that those guys are going to be involved, and people are going to just one-off Michkov and play other things. So I'm not saying it's a prerequisite that you have to stack Michkov with a bunch of pieces, but I definitely think it's a good angle to take.
All right, let's keep going to Winnipeg and the Islanders. Islanders on a back-to-back. I don't even know what to make of this game. I don't know. I don't know the Islanders like I thought I knew the Islanders. I have not put this last game in there, but I'm going to guess the Islanders come down substantially after this loss to the Rangers. Yet another loss. Or wait, no. No, I'm thinking of Boston, who, never mind. So, I mean, the matchup for the Islanders is not good, regardless of what the Rainbow says. Winnipeg is an awesome defensive team. That's even shown in these numbers. It's just that the Islanders have actually been somewhat plucky at 5-on-5. We'll talk about the Islanders more specifically in a second, but on the Winnipeg front, this does look like a really solid matchup. Everything from expected goals to Corsi's to actual goals, very, very strong in favor of the Winnipeg Jets. You look at their lineup and like we're getting more reasonable salaries across the board. I think we've noticed throughout this show, but the top line being 20.2K is certainly a breath of fresh air. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the top line in Winnipeg here, and especially Kyle Connor, who is the engine of this offense at 7,600?
Yeah, no, I think so far it's honestly probably one of my favorite spots on the slate. And I have no problem going all the way with an Ehlers or a Morrissey along with it. I really don't think it's going to see a metric ton of ownership, although I do believe we'll be getting an island. I think they could get this, what's his name? Jakob Skarak. He'll be in. He has, I think, only the one NHL start where he got blown up. Maybe that pushes a couple more people that are the goalie faders towards Winnipeg. Maybe not. I don't know. That doesn't look a good spot. That they haven't put up unbelievable rates on the season, the Winnipeg Jets, but since returning, Kyle Connor's been at least shown flashes of having that, put the slate to bed upside. He had, the 10 shot on goal game, which Eric had 10 shot on goal game, and it's like, oh yeah, it's Kyle Connor. He'll do that. Well, he just hasn't this year. And then he comes back from the break and he's like, I don't know. He's doing it now. So I am pretty interested in kind of going all the way and just saying this Islanders team is actually not very good. But I'll listen to the other side of the coin if there's something you wanted to say, because it looked like you had something to say.
Yeah, no, I guess I'm just not going to be surprised if Sorokin starts both ends of the back-to-back. So I was looking to see if Patrick Waugh confirmed that, but he didn't. So
okay, maybe I'm stupid. I thought I saw a tweet about that. I don't
know. Okay, I don't know. After the game, he was asked, and he said he would confirm it tomorrow. So, anyway, I don't think there's anything else to cover on the side of Winnipeg. For the Islanders, there's a lot of nonsense. They scratched Duclair and moved Pajot up to the first line. I didn't update that because I honestly just don't think it sticks. Patrick Waugh did say that he needs more from Duclair and that he thinks the injuries had a toll on his game, which we've talked about. And we talked about this last week about the injury but his recent performance had looked a little bit stronger. He had a good game in there. Basically, that was enough to say, okay, well, maybe this is it. He said he was feeling better after the break. I kind of expect him to draw in here. Even against Nashville, he had 4 shots on goal in that game. So, I think there is a little bit more jump to him. So, I don't know if you're really looking to spend 14.7K for probably no longer power play 1 correlated Duclair, Horvat, and Lee. But it's at least an option. Brock Nelson's been quite good. It's just that the Palmieri and Holmstrom are too expensive for what they bring to the table. Noah Dobson, I think they've maintained him no longer on the top power play. Yeah, no, they've kept D'Angelo. Oh, what the fuck? Today's first power play had both D'Angelo and Pulock on it. And then the second power play had both Boqvist and Dobson on it. So I don't know, guys. This team is a mess. Let's just not play.
Are we starting to worry that Patrick Waugh's a fucking jackass? Because I have been worried since before the year started. It's pretty incredible how bad he's been, and that people just I don't even know, man. That guy is clueless. Yeah, brutal. I'm definitely not playing them. No one will be playing them. I think that if you're listening to this in the car and you haven't looked at the slate at all, and you keep thinking, man, they're kind of been. We still haven't even talked about the Oilers at home against Anaheim or Colorado at home against Pittsburgh coming up. So we still have the 2 chalkiest spots probably of the night to discuss, which is why it's sort of where's the ownership going to be? It's definitely not going to be on this game. So if you're playing the Islanders because of the price, no one's playing them with you. Have fun. I will not be joining you if you're playing them. The next game is, I would say, the biggest question mark, although I think we got an answer a few hours ago. If you're ready to get to Dallas and New Jersey.
Yep, not a question.
Jack
Hughes did not travel. Okay, whatever. Jack Hughes did not travel to Dallas, so he will not play on Tuesday. The matchups for both teams look very, very solid. I do think there is something to the New Jersey not having Jacob Markstrom in goal that could be, I guess, I don't know. I feel like there might be a little bit less offensive juice in this game in a matchup with Ottinger and Markstrom. I guess that's an insane thing to say. Not an insane thing to say, but is only crazy because of this stupid rainbow chart. So, if you're using the rainbow chart, this is the game of the night. Well, maybe Carolina, Detroit, but the shot attempts aren't there. Yeah. But in general, there's shot attempts galore, expected goals galore, actual goals galore. This game just looks really solid, and maybe it is. But just wanted to start things off with that because for New Jersey, we don't know how they're going to replace Jack Hughes. My suspicion is that Timo bumps up to the top unit. They reunite the Hischier, Meyer, Nason second line and bump Mercer to play first line center with Palat and Bratt. We've also seen Hischier just play with Bratt in Hughes' absence before. So, again, we don't really know what's going on. But of course, that means third and fourth lines are even more dust than usual. I think what's something really interesting is that this top pair of Luke Hughes and Dougie Hamilton absolutely dominated the game last time out. And this wasn't a game where they were trailing. This was a game they led start to finish, I think. Is that That's right,
Well,
against
they
St.
lost to
Louis.
Vegas 2-0, so you're going back 2 games, but
Oh, I'm going back 2 games. You're right. You're right.
it's which is fine. That game they did, and then
Wait.
in the previous game they just never.
Oh my God. Never mind. I was thinking of Dallas. I'm a fucking donkey.
I was like, I don't
Yeah.
even
No,
know what
New
you're talking
Jersey.
about. I'm trying to find
New
it.
Jersey.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. You're right. They were
no
trash.
argument on
So
my
yeah,
end though.
completely
Yeah,
ignore that part of it. But yeah, and in any case, the Hughes Dougie
they-
pairing in a game that was obviously they needed a goal. So there's your explanation. Luke Hughes played 28 goddamn minutes. Like that is
yeah.
monstrous. He's of course been really solid this year, just in a more limited role, playing 18, 19 a night, and Dougie too. But if this game is in need of offense, there's your pairing, and obviously that's going to be a fun defensive pairing. I would be totally fine double stacking just the two defensemen. Hell, make it a game stack with Harley, Hughes, and Dougie. See if I'll stop you. I won't. But anything specific to say on New Jersey and like how they're going to replace Jack Hughes, I think this is my best guess what I have here, but I don't know if there's anything particular you wanted to call out.
I mean, I really just think if you're playing New Jersey, I was going to say you'd be an idiot not to play Dougie Hamilton at 6K. If they're getting there, it just feels like his volume is then a very big part of them reaching their success level. He's not going to be very owned on this slate. And in the game, like you said, it does project well. It's on the other side, there's no Miro Heiskanen either, right? I mean, there's been kind of a like we're going to get to Dallas in a second. We're going to look at that defense, and it's like, oh, maybe they're not that amazing because they're giving Cody Cece and Labushkin a bunch of minutes or whatever, and
Oh
it's
well,
kind of makes sense.
I'm not sure Labushkin plays either because he took a Jack Hughes-esque
Oh
fall
yeah,
into the boards last game.
he could be out.
So we'll
That's right.
see about him. But I honestly don't know what they do if he misses. So
Yeah, I don't
um,
know either. I mean, they're just out of the serviceable defensemen. Like they have
yeah,
Harley, they have Lindell. I mean, honestly, CC's not been horrific. Like I think
yeah,
Lindell makes up a bit, and like he's, again, he's easy to dunk on. He's not the
yeah,
worst player in the league. He is a serviceable player that got paid too much money and got too much kind of put on him. But the fact that he is legitimately playing 22 minutes, 24, minutes isn't
yeah,
great, and the rest aren't great. And I think there's something to either side of this game because of sort of all of it. I almost lean Devils. I almost lean going with Dougie Hamilton, Nico Hischier, and Timo Meyer. Like that's kind of how I'm looking at it
yeah.
right now. Um, I think that's a really, really strong stack, and I really have no problem game stacking this. Right? I mean, like just to say that everything that we, the math is pointing to is correct, and this is the that you had to have tonight. Man, no
Yeah.
one's gonna have it. Not nobody, but it's not gonna be
Wyatt,
highly owned.
yeah, Wyatt coming off of a goddamn hat trick. Their power play
Yeah.
just went hog wild against St. Louis. Um, J Rob has been everything we've wanted J Rob to be for the last 2 years. He's basically been over the last few weeks. So I have absolutely no reservations about J Rob at 7,300. His line mates Rube Hintz and Logan Stankoven. That line is going to cost you 17K if you want to keep it conventional. Marchment, Duchesne, and Granlund, second line, Dallas too, when they're 15K. Like that's always an option as well. And of course, Ben Johnston, Dodonov, 14K,
Yeah.
you're probably just plucking Johnston off and playing him with J Rob or Harley or something. But, line stacks are in order too. I'm not saying by the way, Lubushkin did come back to that game. I think his minutes were pretty reduced though, relative to what
Yeah,
they
he didn't
should
play
have been,
much.
quote unquote. And it just goes to show how weak they are down the right side because it's Matt Dumba, Cody Cece, and Lubushkin playing minutes for this team. So not quite the murderer's row of Hamilton, Pesci, and Simone Nemec, like
No,
the
no.
Devils have to offer. Which, by the way, Seamus
Yeah, and
Casey's not
like
even a part of that. Like, just
I'm just gonna,
hilarious.
yeah. The kind of last note on this whole thing is like obviously Jack Hughes is a massive, massive, massive hole, but on a 1 game slate, do I think that the Devils are that much worse than Dallas right now with all these missing defensemen? I don't. I think it's a lot closer than the public's going to perceive. The books have it as a minus 170 Dallas favorite and a 5.5. Like the Devils are just going to be unowned, and I don't think the math checks out on that entirely. So that's an angle I'm willing to push.
Okay. Well, they scored so many goals against Vegas that I'm very happy to hear that. because
Yeah,
that hurt
yeah.
me on
Just as
Sunday.
many
I'm
as
looking forward
Boston did
to making
against
it back.
Minnesota, and just but let's get to, like I already alluded to. I mean, the chalk of the night's going to be Colorado or Edmonton with Michkov and another punt or two. Colorado,
Yep.
of course, is going to look great. McKinnon's been world beating. McCarr's been unbelievable. It's really expensive. There's a couple savings or maybe other options to fill in. Lehkonen is up to 6,100 to go along with Marty Nachos at 7,100. So difficult there. But top power play, we're expecting, at least in practice, with Jonathan Drouin, not correlated at 5-on-5 with McKinnon, but top power play is what it is. And like that Middlestad Nutushkin line seems fair. I could find a few different ways of maybe trying to play this. I think at the end of the day, I'm just going to fade it at my own peril, because I do think that McKinnon and McCarr are going to be pretty highly owned, because there are ways to make it affordable on the slate. So I might end up fading it myself, but it is a really good play any way you want to play it.
Yeah, so good. We didn't even mention Pittsburgh, so whatever. The only thing I wanted to mention with Pittsburgh is that Tristan Jarry 6,500. I'm expecting him to start, so not a huge discount off of like 7,200, but minimum price goalie. Hee haw, let's do it.
People are
speaking of hee haw. Yeah, McKinnon is gonna look pretty good here. I don't know. I actually don't think he gets more ownership than Nikita Kucherov. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm off my rocker here, but basically the same price. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But Kel McCarr, obviously at 8K, very interesting. Lehkonen and Nachos, maybe less so. Of course, lightly prefer Nachos, but far be it for me to suggest that the player who was getting 97 shot attempts per game in his first few games with the team is not going to sustain that forever. So Nachos is pretty solid, but 7,100 it makes you think, at least, because we know that McKinnon and McCarr are like the two must-haves on this team, and the numbers lately bear that out. The numbers all time also bear that out. So, you don't come to me for Colorado advice, certainly, but this trade they made with for VC and Lindgren, their bottom six actually looks like a real hockey team now. Their third line, Kivi Ranta, Drury, Ross Colton. Fourth line, VC, O'Connor, and Miles Wood. Like, they might not play 4 minutes, like the collection of God, I can't even think, Ivan and Parker Kelly's still with the team, but like just these dudes who are literally only there to play 3 minutes a night and that's it. Like, I don't think we're in that level of this Colorado team. So again, how much can you really dock minutes projection for a McKinnon or whatever? Like, probably not enough to be meaningful, but it's at least something I'm trying to work in, because I don't think the upside's there for McKinnon to play 26 minutes against this decrepit Pittsburgh team. So I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm, anything that you're going to tell me that's going to try to convince me not to play Colorado, I'm in on that. I think my biggest problem is just knowing that there's no way to get sneaky here. Like, if you think you're playing Colorado one off or whatever you want to do, it's not going to work. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. You can't make me. I think I'm just going to fade it and pray that Tristan Jarry doesn't. And even if Tristan Jarry poops his pants, as long as he doesn't poop his pants 4 times to McKinnon, like McKinnon can get 2 points and I might not be dead.
Yeah. If Tristan Jarry can just save the first shot of the game, which will of course be a McKinnon shot from 97 feet out, we'll be off and running, folks.
The instant death of DFS tomorrow when McKinnon scores from the blue line. I'm just, oh God. Okay. Next, we have the Anaheim Ducks at the Edmonton Oilers. Once again, let's at least talk about the Ducks. They did have some changes to their lineup, so they're, Vetranos, Roman Terry is the unbreakable force that can never be tampered with, and the line's played. They're not going to argue with. Zegras returns after suspension, goes to Leo Carlson and Alex Killorn, taking the shackles off of Mason McTavish, who was shackled to those guys who aren't very good. Goes back to Cutter Gauthier, and they're like, who do we have left on this team that can play hockey? No one. I guess Sam Colangio is going to get the draw to be the third winger on the...
Hold on, just a second. Sam Colangelo is actually a pretty good prospect.
He's fine.
This is a very fun line, in my opinion.
This is better than it's been, and it's still not great. And it that like Ducks team yet, and that's fine. They don't have to be serious yet. But if you were going to, let's take a look at the Ducks, and you can. Like I'm not again like this Oilers team has been brutal since the break. How would you play it? Or the answer is just the Flyers are better.
Well, yes, but it's probably just through this third line. I mean, Cutter's been legitimately good for multiple weeks now. He took a nasty high stick last game, left. I thought he was done. Nope, comes back, rock star, 30 stitches under his nose. Like, I mean, he's just, I don't know. He looks good now. Again, former 5th overall pick, like all the pedigree in the world. Mason McTavish back at center. Sam Colangelo is a super talented early second rounder from 2020, he crushed it last year in the NCAA and has been quite good in the AHL as well. So, like, I think he's here to stay. I don't know. This line just has me excited. It is the exact sort of line that I love to play, because then in 3 years, when they're all very good NHL players, I get to say, well, I was first, even though it doesn't win me any money. So,
yeah.
What's really important here is that Jackson Lacombe is on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do think that I was almost joking, but honestly, I'm being almost serious. Like, I am being serious. Like, the Flyers are just a better play. Is Lacombe a better play than Ristolainen? Once you factor in the price, no. So I doubt I get there, because I'm going to end up donkey.
Stop
what?
It. I need you to stop that.
Sorry.
Nope.
I'm sorry I'm being correct for the first time this entire podcast, but like I am. Like,
no. You do not score the types of goals that Jackson. The only reason you like Risto is because he scored that one goal in the World Juniors in 2013. Don't lie to me.
I know. Okay. Lacombe is a better player than Ristolainen. Lacombe is a better play if you didn't have money involved. But for $1,200, he's not that much better. I mean, like, Lacombe is not that much better than Risto as a play on this Ducks team that is just so yeah, no, I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to end up with Ducks in my lineup, even though they are more in consideration than probably a lot of other things. I would tend to agree that Cutter is turning the corner, but there's 2 10-minute game logs in the past 3 games where he played 10 minutes at 4,700, the same price as Mr. Michkov. I don't know, man. Like, might just play Michkov and
gotta play a guy who's not a minutes risk at 28% owned.
I'm gonna play New Jersey, and then I'm gonna be different. I'm playing the, what do they call that rivalry? Turnpike, the Turnpike rivalry or something, something like that.
Yeah, I mean there is the Turnpike.
Little New Jersey and the Flyers. I'm not going to be a complete. I'm not going to play McKinnon with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be strategic in other ways. But yeah, there's that, and then there's the Oilers, who we haven't talked about yet. Your segue to the Oilers. So
the Oilers lines today: RNH, McDavid, Hyman, Matt Savoy, minimum salary, Draisaitl, Podkolzin, and Janmark, Henrik Brown, Perry Kapanen, and Skinner. What did you want to say about the Oilers?
Yeah. McDavid, Hyman, Bouchard. Who says no?
Me, because if you're not playing Leon Draisaitl, you're an absolute fish.
What about McDavid, Bouchard, Draisaitl? Maybe.
Just don't play McDavid and actually make money.
Are people going to play the Oilers? Is the question. Really?
They are at home against the Anaheim Ducks. Yes.
I wanted you to say no.
Zach Hyman is
All right.
$6,000.
I
RNH
know.
is $5,000. They are going to be giga jammed.
This is the problem. I have to find a way to convince myself that the chalk isn't going to be chalk. And then you tell me it's going to be chalk and it is.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm going to be smarter than that. No, it's going to be so owned. And I'm just like, no, they've been bad. People aren't going to play them because they've been bad. And everyone's going to be like the Ducks. And they're right. Damn it. They've gotten me again. So yeah, no, it's going to be owned. Know that the chalk is going to be on it. It people ask me what the donkey chalk that it's going to be. This is it. I just don't want it to be, and it is.
Yeah, Darnell Nurse will be back. Brett Kulak should miss, so be on the lookout for nonsense there. I think Troy Stetcher's okay, but he's the guy who didn't play last game. But they called up Cam Dineen emergency, so that makes me think that Kulak won't be available. He of I think 6 shots, 8 blocks, and a goal from the weekend. Really incredible stuff there from Kulak, but they will be without his services. Draisaitl and Savoy will be paired up at 5-on-5. Savoy a scratch most recently. So I don't know. Minimum salary. Like how do we not? I think is my question.
Yeah, you're allowed to. There's no red flag. I mean, he's not going to get a ton of minutes, but I mean, yeah, Arvidsson scratched, right? I mean, I'm not losing my mind.
He
not hurt.
Did not skate for some reason, which I believe was illness. But I guess that's a consideration.
I definitely double check tomorrow because if he's not scratched, which I mean, again, he's been bad and is what it is. And as a noted Victor Arvidsson lover of the group, hate to see it, but he's also not getting minutes and been terrible. I guess if you're going to play a player that's not getting minutes and could be good and maybe get more minutes because they're good, Matt Savoy makes more sense. Like, I don't think he profiles like a Victor Arvidsson, but if Leon Draisaitl nukes the entire slate to smithereens, it's not like Matt Savoy doesn't get there at 8 points. You're good, right? I mean, he gets an assist. You're absolutely thrilled. No issue there at all. Okay. Yeah, we can move on to the final game. It's not a game that's going to probably inspire a ton. But this is an interesting one. We've talked about quite a bit of chalk in the past 2 games. I don't think this will be very chalky, and there's at least 2 teams that are going to play hockey. I have to say that. Tell me I'm wrong.
You will not find any ownership on this game. Thank you for thank you for sniffing that one out there, DJ.
Both teams are going to play, and no one's going to play them. Should they?
Short answer, absolutely not. But I don't know.
Okay,
Matt Boldy, 7K. He's awesome. Vinny Hinostroza, unfortunately, fell down the lineup. But he's still top power play based on last game. So, and was he the one who scored?
Hinostroza scored.
No, Gaudreau scored. Yeah, Gaudreau scored.
You're right. This is the game. No. Now I'm going 2 games back, and I'm being
yeah. That's it.
Yeah, Freddie Gaudreau.
2 games ago.
I've never looked at something and been like, "What is missing here?" And it being such an unbelievably obvious Kirill Kaprizov still not being here. I'm like, I thought this team was good. This team, they're missing like the best player in the world, at least top 5, right? Let's be, he's maybe not McDavid, but like I'd argue in versus anybody else, I would at least give him a look. It is a big miss. Not much more to say. I think Matt Boldy is interesting. I think you could just one-off Boldy in this game and be. Yeah. That's the way to do this game. Nothing else is necessary. Matt Boldy could absolutely, go for a 35 bomb, and I don't think anyone else can. Montour has been great, but 5,300 is too expensive. There's way too many other great plays on this slate, I think, to do it. But I think if there's anything else, it'd be Montour or McCann.
Yep. I think Shane Wright's worthy of inclusion here. He's been their best forward. McCann's been their best expected fantasy point forward. Shane Wright's been their actual best forward. So, no complaints from me there. Those 2 are paired up at 5-on-5. It is 9.5K though for the twosome. So probably only relevant on a late slate or like a super large contest. Kako, Benier, Schwartz has really cooled off. They were very good for a while there, but not really chasing that one in a matchup with Minnesota.
I'm starting to worry Bylsma might end up joining the Donkeys at some point, but I don't know. I just don't know why they can't do more normal stuff, but I don't know. It's weird. Like there's so much okay player like on this team where I don't know.
I don't think
maybe
it's
not
his fault.
Yeah, maybe it's not his fault. I want it to be. I don't know why. It's not. This team just isn't that good. Hate to see it.
And again, like the point of this year probably wasn't to win a Stanley Cup or anything even close to that. So the fact that it does seem like over the past month, Shane Wright has taken a massive step forward is, I think, fantastic news. Everything else is kind of window dressing. Oh my God, did Will Smith just score that? No, he didn't. Wow. I just watched a shootout and Will Smith went absolutely apeshit. Okay, anyway. Eli Tolvanen is playing with Chandler Stevenson. Like, he doesn't get power play time, which is the only thing that is really annoying about Bylsma, but he's been really good too. 3,600.
Yeah.
You're finding better options, I think, elsewhere on the slate, but at least wanted to shout him out because anyone playing with Chandler,
I mean that's exactly the problem with this team. Or you're like, how is Eli Tolvanen not getting power for this team? And then you look at the team and you're like, everyone's kind of bad. But is anybody? Yeah. I don't know. Kind of like a bunch of guys that could be on the power play, and no one that's like obviously this guy, because that's why they run 2 units, and it's kind of just this big clusterfuck. And I don't know.
It turns out they need better management to get better players. That's, I think, the problem here. Yeah. Okay. Being in Buffalo, I'm not sure we know what that looks like, but
that doesn't ring a bell. I don't know what that sounds like a good idea.
Right.
I wish someday my team would.
We made it. We careened to the stop. I think it's time for Top Stacks guaranteed goals.
Yeah. This is such a bizarrely weird slate. Thank you for making me absolutely massive on the screen. There you go. This is such a bizarrely weird slate. Like I really do feel like this is one of the slates I'm going to feel the most uncomfortable about for the longest, and then land on something that's I'm going to feel great about. And I'm going to be like this. I solved it. And then I'm going to score like 65. So that's where I'm at. My mental state is at right now. That being said, I do think when all the cards turn over, I'm not sure how it's going to be, but I'm going to end up with Dougie Hamilton and Timo Meier. I think that Timo has played well enough, and if he's going to get an increase in role, and he might actually take a spot on the power play that he should have, rather than kind of being forced into a role he shouldn't play because Jack Hughes is out. That makes it a little bit more interesting. I feel like there's just no way I'm not clicking Nico Hischier. Altogether, you're looking at a very mid-range salary Nico, Timo, and Dougie in a game where they're not going to see any ownership, in a game that projects to be just fine. And when you look at the reasons behind it, I think you're finding that a up-tempo team in Dallas that realizes they can win in a track meet right now without good defensive metrics from bad defensive players might end up pushing the pace again against a New Jersey team that is clearly pushing the envelope as well. If you want to throw a fourth guy in on that double stack, it is just most obviously Luke Hughes, who in a game where if it does get into that track meet, will see a ton of ice time as a supremely talented player. So yeah, I'm going to do it. Devils.
Okay. I am going to go with Winnipeg. The Biton top line, Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabe Velarde. I want to get a good grasp on ownership before I really go all in on that, but this Islanders team has not looked like a ton of fun. I'm hoping that we get like a one-off on the Islanders front that sort of I can adapt to news-wise.
It's a 5.5. It's a 5.5. I know it's minus 162 right now for the Jets, but like, I just don't think people are going to, I really like, they're going to look at the fact they can play, I'm not the exact same price, but they could play McDavid, Hyman, and Bouchard, and it's not that far off. And they're telling me they're going to go to the road Winnipeg Jets in a 5.5 against the Islanders team that people still think can play hockey. I really think that Edmonton thing is actually Like my brain was like, what if it isn't going to be owned? And it's going to be. It's maybe it's going to see 25%. Trisoto's going to see 12, and Hyman's going to get carried up there, and like we're all going to turn the cards over and be like, why the fuck didn't we play Winnipeg? Like, what were we thinking? They're playing a back-to-back Islanders team that's absolutely dust. That's benching the only good players to play like Cody Zizekas.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that's really sharp, and that's honestly where my brain is at right now.
Speaking of incredibly sharp things that you just said, remember a few minutes ago when you said you're going to build a lineup that you think is super sharp and then score 65 points?
Yeah.
I just checked my Monday night DraftKings team. And DJ, do you want to guess how many points my fantasy team has tonight with just Kemper left to go?
69.
65.8.
Darn it. So you're going to get to 69.
No, because nice. Kemper's going to allow more goals and go negative.
Oh my God. It's
even more negative.
4-1. Oh my God. I'm going to see you scored. Okay. Yeah. Yippity do. Okay. That's tough stuff.
Turns out you were a little bit too prescient for your own good.
I honestly think that, and this is going to go, I'm going to do something that I don't often do, but I'm going to go with Tippett, Mitchkov, Ristolainen. Okay. You're thinking DJ, what a donkey, what chalky you've built. Okay. So right now I'm sitting here with all this goodness. Nico Hischier, Tippett, Mitchkov, Meyer, Risto. Then you just one off Matt Boldy in the late game, the late hammer, the 37-38 bomb.
The late hammer. You did it, folks.
Do you play Tristan Jarry to then afford a $5,800 center and build the perfect lineup? I don't know.
Did you just build a lineup for us, DJ? That's against the rules.
I didn't build it. I said you could do that and then lose because Tristan Jarry is horrific.
Right.
But yeah, no. I mean, what about Shane Wright on the other side? And now all of a sudden you're sitting there and you could play any goalie that's 7,900 or less. Not going to tell you who to play. Wow. I stick to the rules.
What about Marco Rossi there with Matt Boldy? Any interest? Too sharp?
Genius.
Oh my God. We did it.
I never even considered winning the slate until now. All of a sudden, you're sitting here with the shippers that ship. And guess what? Right. You're playing Philly. I know you're playing Philly. It's going to be high owned. Nothing else in my lineup's high owned. The cumulative ownership that we don't want to discuss.
Speaking of winners, we're just going to play good players that are perfectly correlated in good matchups. And DJ,
Carolina,
the Boston Bruins are at home facing the Nashville goddamn Predators. And David Pastrnak, Morgan Geekie, Pavel Zacha, they make you think twice. What that second thought is we're locking them in.
I feel like right now, like the devil on the devil on one side and the angel on the other, because Cale Makar is like, I was not even like, he's unbelievably good. I love him to death, but like he's gonna kill me on this slate. He's gonna put me to bed and be the worst. And David Pastrnak gonna play.
I just want to make sure I just want to make sure I have 65 points before the second period of Pittsburgh and Colorado drops the puck, and my opponents have 250.
I can guarantee there's like one game I will not be watching tomorrow. It's Pittsburgh and Colorado because I won't be able to mentally handle watching Tristan Jarry flop around in that. I can't do it. And I will be praying for his victory, but man. Just now out of the curve again. Just don't let McKinnon nuke the slate. Tristan.
Yeah, we've built like 3 different lineups. We've talked about every team on the slate in this segment somehow, but we still got to do guaranteed goals. So how do we do
goal, Nathan McKinnon? I guarantee first goal Nathan McKinnon. Done.
Yeah, guaranteed first shot goal Nate McKinnon.
Yeah, guaranteed first goal. No, let's actually be serious for a second. Let me look at the stuff I normally try to look at here, which I had to close out of because my internet was being an absolute disaster when it on the guaranteed or the stacks. So if you have one,
I do. I'm gonna lock in Alex Tuck. There's a little bit of condition on that being Jason Zucker remains out because that top power play gig that hits for the taking right now. But over his last 10, 56 shot attempts, 7 goals on 4.6 expected goals. Like, this dude is just doing it all right now. Maybe trying to play his way out of Buffalo. Ever considered
Me
that?
too.
Anyway, what is your guaranteed goal?
I'm trying to play my way out of Buffalo too. It's not working.
You're about to sign a lifelong contract there, aren't you?
By one of the things we said early on in the slate was the Columbus Blue Jackets. I could be convinced a couple different ways here. I feel like I want to just say Fantilli. I think I just want to pick the guy that's good. Who do you like? Or are you going to take a Blue Jacket?
I was setting up the Igor Chinikov return jam hammer.
Oh, right.
It's okay. It's okay. I respect it. Nope.
Okay. Saved it.
I respect
Saved it. I was gonna take Fantilli, but if you wanted to, I could save him for you. But
take him. He's yours.
All right. It is.
All right. So I have 4,800 DraftKings dollars remaining, and you got to pivot on the fly. And sometimes knowing ball is the projection. You can't project this guy to play many minutes. You certainly can't project him to be higher projected than Matvei Michkov. But my God, wouldn't it be nice if Cutter Gauthier continued his goal scoring run and picked up another one here on Tuesday evening? 5 goals in his last 10, 3 goals in his last 4. Cutter does it again for us. Lights the lap against these god-awful Edmonton Oilers, who don't play defense right now, by the way. Their defensive numbers, not very good.
He brings God into the fold. Didn't know he had it in him.
We got a couple from Ben. Oh, wait, sorry. You have one more.
Mm-hmm. No. Say Ben's. I want to
hear
Ben's first to see it.
Ben's chiming in with Boone Jenner and Nichushkin. So there's your actual sharp guaranteed goals of the slate. DJ, back to you in the studio.
Call. 5,200 is a weird price. The obvious answer is Owen Tippett, and he was in my stack. Then the second obvious answer is Michkov, and he was in my stack. So we're not going to cheat because cheaters cheat, and I'm not cheating. How much is? Why am I losing my mind? I wanted to take Matt Duchene. Is he really?
He's 55.
That expensive? Oh God! Why would they do that to me? You know what? Screw it. Logan Stankoven. Give me the top line. Give me the Stank Master.
Stanky.
I don't need that
Stanky
cap.
leg.
I don't need cap. The thing is, he would like if they're in a game where they're trailing, he'll play more minutes. Like they just roll 4 lines because they're winning games. They didn't get the power on that. So the normal second unit is because they wanted the hat trick from Wyatt Johnston. So I'm not really worried about the usage.
Okay.
You take Cutter.
Hey, you take that back.
Like, Cutter's going to see less run than Stankoven and not playing with Rubehans or Robertson. So, yeah, this was good. I feel like actually I'm going to give us an average grade on this slate. I think we did okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's really just what we strive for. We strive for perfectly acceptable in the eyes of one of the two hosts as our sort of bar to clear.
Watch Alex Leferrier ruin my parlay. Should have bet him for shots, I suppose.
Oh, I have no idea what's going on in that game.
They're down 4-1, and Leferrier
has 3 shots. 3. Oh, I know they've given up goals. I didn't know about the shots. So
yeah, Knight's going just ham. He's like, trade me to you will. I'll make him a winner.
Yeah. Hey, turns out goalies are good.
Goalies are good, and okay, yeah. Let's close on that note. We love goalies, and goalies are good.
Yep. Never said anything bad about a goalie in my lifetime. Speaking of things I never say bad things on Twitter, I'm at Fake Moods over there. The Discord, I certainly never say bad things. DM us if you want in on that action. DJ is at DJ_Mitchell94. subscribe to my newsletter. I made substantial progress in the last 24 hours on building a Zamboni sim. Turns out it's very difficult for my computer to merge a table of 256,000 player projections for 1,000 simulated playoffs with a table of 125 million cells that are underdog teams. So I may have barked up the wrong tree with this endeavor, but it's coming. It's coming along. We brought in the big guns. Doug is guiding me through how to maybe not light my house on fire. I'm trying to run this, but I am actually trying to publish that at some point over the next week or two so that we can get into Zamboni drafting season. And that'll be exclusively on the moods.beehive.com platform. DJ, anything you want to plug here?
It was a good betting night no matter what Leferrier does. It could be a great one if he gets there, but all my bets free on Dub Club, all my bets free on my Twitter. DM me any questions. I put out the link to my DraftKings thing again and let a bunch of people in, and somehow that broke it because all of a sudden a bunch of random people's bets were being posted, and like I couldn't find any rhyme or reason to it, and then I fixed it. And then a bunch more showed up, and I was like, that either these people didn't bet for a week after I fixed it the first time, or it broke again. I don't know how that's possible. But alas, people really appreciate that. It's free. So DM me if you have any questions on how to get that. But if you just want my bets, in any way possible, you can have them. I don't hide them. Bet them. Watch the hockey and enjoy the sport, and tell other people to watch hockey and enjoy the sport. And then maybe one day hockey will be big enough to support, a show like us to be making like a ton of money, and then we'll be rich. And then I think that makes us happy. I don't know. I don't really know what's next after that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I guess getting there is the first step, though, huh? All right.
Then the Sabres make the playoffs. No, I'm not too far.
Okay, so yeah, no. All right, that'll do it from us. Thank you all for hanging out. From Doug, from DJ, from myself, have a good Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you.